Hi everyone, it's Tom at Pancake Analytics, and this is the monthly outlook for shiny cardboard, sports, TCG, non-sports, with actual data through end of March, February 2023. You're probably thinking to yourself, Tom, didn't you already present this analysis, this video? Well, I did, but I want to do a redo of it since the reception for live streaming at this convention is very poor. So this is going to be a redo. So the monthly outlook for shiny cardboard is also more commonly known as a monthly market analysis and trading card forecast. So I do get predictive with this. So when we're talking about analytics, I like to throw the types of analysis really into 4 quadrants. So this is just to help to understand what I'll be providing and what you mostly see out there. So quadrant 1, and we're going to go based off this off of level of difficulty and the value that it provides. So quadrant 1, low value, low level of difficulty is going to be descriptive analysis. So that is more of like, hey, this card sold for an all-time high, but there's nothing really about causation, prescriptive about it. Then next we move on to diagnostic, which will look a little bit deeper as to what were some of the drivers. Sometimes it's more focused just on data and factual information, no analysis into play. Then we move on to predictive quadrant, which uses the descriptive statistics and the diagnostics together to start projecting from what we know from the actuals. This is what this presentation is going to have. There might be some of the prescriptive area as well, which is more of, here's where I see is good opportunities. Here's what I would do if I was the collector in this category. Now, you can't skip steps to get to prescriptive, in my professional opinion. So a lot of what you see out there is people start off with that descriptive stats and then try to jump all the way to prescriptive, but you've got to go descriptive, diagnostics, predictive to get to prescriptive if you want to be taken seriously and provide a valuable analysis to collectors and investors alike. So really quick, what's on the menu in this video? It's going to be a quick reintroduction to myself, my upcoming appearances, the results of the Holt Winters Model of May 2023 outlook. So that'll be through the end of the month, May 2023. And then our category details. I believe I look into 7 categories now at this point. So really quick about me and what I've been trying to do on the channel. This upcoming year, I'll be celebrating 5 years of providing analytics for the Comic-Con community, trading card collectors, and those curious about how to have fun with analytics. So one of the goals of why I do this is to really educate those on just analytic procedures out there, analytics approaches. The idea, if you understand some of the basic concepts of, say, Spider-Man, well, you actually probably know how the basic concepts of a random forest just by understanding the Spider-Verse and how that works. If you know Pokemon movesets, you'd be surprised how well it correlates to approaches in analytics. So really fun for those who attend Comic-Con panels or just have a discussion with me on IG. More than happy to show you how, like, hey, you're kind of already halfway there into being a data scientist. Now, really the focus this year has been on providing data tools that you can use and predictive analysis for shiny cardboard. So hopefully within the next upcoming week, I'll be able to share one of the biggest data tools that I've been leading and developing. Really happy and proud about the work, and hopefully I'll get to, wrap it up and share it with everyone soon. It's going to be a big blessing for TCG fans who don't only collect Pokemon but like to collect more diversely. Upcoming appearances, March 10th, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time. I'll be on the YouTube channel Rolling with FD. So this will be my second time on FD's channel. First time was a great conversation. Love the interactive chat and all the discussion that was going on there. So hopefully we can keep that rolling per se. MegaCon Orlando. Hopefully I'll be doing about 5 panels this year. That's end of March, early April. Tampa Bay Comic Con. I didn't go last year because I was planning on going to nationals. My national trip didn't happen. So we're just going to make Tampa Bay happen this year. And that should be sometime in, I believe, late July. But more details coming once I know more details and have a confirmation. Now what you're really here for, the output of the Holt Winters model. So a Holt Winters model is pretty much triple exponential smoothing, is another word for it. So there's 3 elements to it, the 3 E's, exponentials, in this case, seasonality, a trend, and an average value that represents what you're trying to predict. So it's very well with sales data, anything that shows a seasonal pattern. So if you're a sports collector, you know there's an off season and an on season. And once we get to like the details of each model, you can see why it's so highly predictive, because most of these categories are very seasonal. So the latest model output projects out to May 2023, and it's showing a lift in all categories for month over month, with the exception of basketball and soccer. Basketball, unfortunately, also has the lowest 2-year projection of down 40%. Then in second in the category you don't want to come second in is Pokemon, down nearly 24%. So that's a 2-year comparison. Those are our normalized stats. Right? I don't only like to focus on the monthly trend because not everybody got into collecting last night. And just from good practice, industry best standards, you need to normalize your data before you start, being happy and singing praises around like weekly trends, increases that you're seeing. In most cases, you'll see that the weekly trend or the monthly trend is so low, it's not enough to offset the losses last year and 2 years ago. If there's anything I find most value from as a collector from this analysis that I do, is the seasonal index. So this is one of those fun collaterals that come out of doing predictive analysis and really a time series, is that you'll get the seasonal index, which compares the actuals to the forecast and lets you know per month how many times or what percentage wise the actual beats out the forecast, or it's less than. So anytime it's over 100, that would mean that this card usually sells for higher than expected. Anytime it's lower than 100, you could find some deals. So we're in March currently, and it's historically still one of the lowest indexing months of the year. February was the lowest month, so we're coming out of that. Every category tends to sell lower than expected, so lower than the forecast. You go on to April, everyone starts to over-index except for hockey and football. In May, everyone over-indexes. Marvel's the big call out there. It over-indexes by nearly 20%. Now in June, everyone over-indexes, again, except for football. So this is that seasonality that we're talking about. Now here's a view of just all the categories against each other and its monthly trend. You really want to look for those green areas, like if you're looking to move cards. If you're a collector, look for those red areas. They'd be good times to buy. right? Like February was a time to buy across all categories. May, June, a little bit of August, depending on which category you're collecting in, might be a time to move out of cards you don't want anymore, or just wait to buy. Now it's time to pour some bubblies, in this case, bubble graphs. This is just another view of understanding those month-over-month changes, which is going to be our monthly trend predicted. And then in the x-axis is our year-over-year change, so you can kind of get that long-term view. Bubble size is the total value of the index. And I didn't mention it on, so I apologize for that. I usually kick off with like a disclosure, but I predict this data off of card ladder indexes. And for when we get to Fortnite, it's not the card ladder indexes, it's actually Terapeak data that I'm querying myself for select cohorts of cards that I taking the high ground helped me curate for this analysis. Give that podcast a try, give them a good listen. I'm in tuning every time they're on YouTube. Card ladder, I really like their indexes just because it's an approach that you normally take in analytics, and they have disclosed to me just how they developed it. It's very close to RFM segmentation. So it's a subset of a subset, but when you're speaking about these categories, you don't want to talk about every single individual. What really jumps out to me in this is Marvel and basketball. You can see while basketball now on that far right graph is in an area of concern. I'll go into more detail on basketball specifically. Marvel is that green bubble, and you can see it's doing well in monthly trends, the prediction, but it is by far the least performing in year over year. But awful transition, but let's go into Pokemon. So by the end of May 2023, the outlook for Pokemon is a 24% decline year over year and a 24% decline over the next 2 years. So there's positive signs in the monthly trend, but 7% is not enough to offset those yearly losses. So this is where it's all about market entry point. Here's the expanded view, just so you can see some details into those data. Right, the model towards the end, so the red is the forecast, does get a little bullish, but it's not enough to offset if you came in 2020 or 2021. On to soccer. So from last time, soccer was a call concern. We continue to see that same trend. The gap is closing though, so it is starting to get to more of the area. It still has a lot to lift. So the expected month-over-month lift is actually a loss, down 8%. And you're going to see expected losses of 10% and 5% year over year, and compared to 2 years ago, respectively. Now, when we look into detail for soccer, right, the model is bullish towards the end as well, but then towards the end of May, it takes a dip. So what you're seeing on the screen is actually graphed out weekly. So should have pulled that out at the beginning, but just so you understand those lines and those predictions. As you can see, soccer, the blue actual, is actually trending towards the lower confidence bound. That's why the year over year and normalized projections I did off of the lower confidence bound. But the red is the forecast. It's not unlikely that it would hit the forecast, but right now I'm seeing it's going more towards the lower confidence bound. Hockey continues to close in on its decline. I mentioned last month that hockey and baseball had the smallest gap to cover, and it looks like hockey is starting to cover that gap. At least the model is projecting, so to be able to show a positive year-over-year lift. end of month May 2023. The expectation from the model is down 2% and up 1% compared to 2 years ago. The monthly trend is at an increase of roughly 2%. So all you need is to recover in that year-over-year lift, and hockey is going to be very similar to baseball. Here's that detail view. You see the model isn't as bullish as it is for other categories. Flatten out a little bit, and there's a slight upward tick towards the end of March. This is actually the first time that the actuals are underperforming against the model. Usually when I model out hockey, the actuals are always overperforming. So you might want to have a little bit of caution here and see if it starts to flatten out like it's predicted, or if it gets closer to that yellow, lower confidence band. Football. So if you came into football card 2 years ago, you're continuing to be up, seeing positive lift. But those entering last year, you're not seeing a positive lift as of yet. 6% monthly lift in May 2023 is not going to be enough to offset a 24% loss year over year. So all about price entry, right? Where did you come into the market? If you came in 2 years ago, you're up 24%. If you came in last year, you're down 24%. If you're just newly buying right now, you're seeing short-term lifts of up to nearly 6%. Basketball now, here's a poll of concern. It's entering that similar rare space that soccer was last month's projection. Be down in the monthly trend 17%. Yearly outlook and 2-year outlook, you're going to be down as well. Come the end of May, down 39% over last year, and down 40% compared to 2 years ago. This is not the triple-double basketball should be trying to pull off. Here's that detail viewed, and you can see, it gets bullish right before the end of May, but then towards the end of May, it takes another dip, right? So this is predicting off the trends it sees. And if you look at the actual start to slight underperform to the forecast. The forecast is predicting another dip before that spike upwards and then a dip again. So this is another area where it's not out of the realm of possibility where we start seeing it more closely to that lower confidence bond. You can thank the Fleer Jordan. Marvel is still one of the most interesting ones to forecast out of category rise. Spidey sense should still continue to tingle, and Marvel is expected to have a loss of 56% year over year going into the end of the month, May 2023. That's even 10 basis points lower than last month's projection. There'll be some short-term lift, right? It'll be 59%. So nothing to, look down upon. But Marvel has already gone through several corrections. So that 59% lift is probably not a lot dollar value-wise. So, but if you entered before the PMG phase, your expected growth is still Marvel, yay. But once again, this graph will show you everything's about price into the market when you came in. If you get rid of all that boom data, that PMG phase, and you just graph out from that dip that's right, I believe that's December 5th, 2021. You just put kind of like a straight line, give it some elasticity. You're almost, you just connect those two last data points. It looks like healthy growth. The model is starting to pick up that variability, and you could very well see like the lower confidence bound might win here, especially if there's not that projected spike that happens. Baseball, once again, baseball one of the easiest categories for me to forecast and has a steady forecast. As always, the only category with a positive lift year over year. By end of month, April 2023, you're up just a little bit under 1%. So you can make that argument that it's more flat. Monthly trend is expected to be down, but that's also, you could say, flat as well, less than 1%. 2-year lift, you're going to see a healthy 33%. So on the detail, you can see how baseball is more organic, right? You're not seeing that big jump, like its boom that happened during the pandemic wasn't substantial, and it's staying flat. Starting to see somewhat of a small correction, but if there's another dip next month, then we can say it's probably going to get to the lower confidence bound, and these forecasts will update themselves. So now onto Fortnite. I do this approach a little bit differently. It's a monthly forecast, not a weekly. Still a Holt Winters model. There's no card ladder index yet for Fortnite, so this is the one where I pull my therapy data. So there's a year-over-year expected change of positive 28% and a 2-year change of 33% for Fortnite. Fortnite collectors are already experiencing that. So if you want more detail, there's more than forecast on my website. There's single focus analysis, data science tools you can use, links to all my YouTube guest spots, and recaps of Comic-Cons I've attended. Hopefully I'll get to an Atlanta recap as well. So that website is pancakebreakfaststats.com. Instagram is pancake_analytics. So thank you for attending. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you at a convention soon. Talk to you next month with another update to the forecast.